Is this working? Should be. Alright, cool. Let me update this. Whoa. Is that really bad? The BAM? Green? Do you want light or dark? Light green or dark green day? Green day. It is green day. Good riddance. We found it. We did it. We have done it. Although before I start your reviews, I actually wanna practice painting real quick. Can we set a dent? Maybe I can make that a point redemption. 100k for the headset dinner review. No way. I don't really know a good map to practice painting on. That's a good question. I don't know what the quintessential map is. I feel like Hacklefish probably isn't too bad. It's just like make that a reward. After I finish my session tonight, I'm gonna go check and see if I have like an actual headset. And if it's something that I can have appear on camera, then we'll consider it. Oh yeah, twitter.com. Yo, welcome in, Lily. Hello, hello, hello. How are you? I have to also make sure that I have reviews. I think I still have a handful in the queue. Yeah, one thing I noticed playing some Zap in that rotation earlier, Bob, is the fact that I don't know how to paint with this weapon. I'm gonna be honest. I don't even know. This map you can get special fast, but just like if you're painting this type of area, that extra range is actually really nice. What the heck? I don't know how to paint better for because this is always like super restricted, but if you go deep enough you can paint everything, but it's super vulnerable. I don't know if it's better to get like the wider paint like that, or if you're supposed to like... I need to pay attention when I watch good Zap players. I have VODs of them painting, so I should just check. You probably want to slow down the paint a little bit so that it's a little bit more condensed. If you're trying to get fully like the most paint, you have to also make sure you don't look up too much, or else you restrict the total amount of paint that you do. This feels so awkward. Oh. Yeah, I don't know. That's another thing when watching good shooter players is like they can climb so seamlessly, like up and down these little. Oh, they just like play ledges so cleanly. Also, their pace of play is a lot faster than mine. It's so hard seeing how awkward I am and then watching good players. And be like, I can't replicate that. How's the peanut? Oh shoot. Yeah, with the extra range you have to be careful. This is a spot where you actually probably should aim a little bit higher. How deep can we get in here? Alright. Enough of my own random peening and whatnot. That can be weirdly spotty. Yeah, for sure. Yo, welcome in Spanish Armada. Dude, that was so funny. Yeah, Nintendo messed up the... Because they tried to fix the glitch before where it would duplicate the baskets. But they also made it so that, like, if you throw the ball in when it hits 0 and that's your only power clam, then it'll, like, end the game automatically. I've never seen that interaction that you had where you just yoink the ball from the zip caster. I don't know why. I feel like that should have been play tested, but I'm glad to see it got the attention it deserved. Both from a very interesting standpoint and also from a very, like, how did this happen standpoint. But that's weird. I didn't even know that was I didn't even know that was actually possible. That was fascinating. Alright, I'm just gonna deny the duplicate. This one needs to be updated. This one needs to be updated. This one also updated. I should have done this before stream, but yeah, no. I probably should untag these as not reviewed as well. I probably should also change the name from not reviewed to like in queue or something. Right. This way I can actually like follow these a lot easier. Sorry, I'm just doing some housekeeping. This one, I believe this person submitted another one, so we should be good on that. Sorry, I really should have done this beforehand. Alright, now we're getting to new ones. No. This will make sorting these way easier later. Okay, perfect. Alright. Should watch this. Is it a full game or is it like a little clip? If it's a clip, we can probably throw it on later. If it's a full game, I'll have to check it a little bit later. What is... I can't remember. If I reviewed that one or not. I have to come back. Okay, so we at least have 2 of them. We're chilling. Because yeah, I need to start like tagging these. Or actually using the replays to properly filter them. Which is a good problem to have. Now we're caught up. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, so Not reviewed. So we're gonna start with lanes here. Yo, what's up, Fizzybone? Wait, Fizzybone, when's the next time you can play? I'm kind of fiending an open TC rotation, and I want to try to play with you next time. Do you have a specific day that works for you? Should I just like message you when there's a good rotation? I want to play more pro, rapid pro. Also might play the other rapid as well. I need to get more reps in it. Did I mistype that? 3 VMPQ. Check this. I don't think I made a mistake. This one could be an L though. Please. VMPQ. The only other thing, this could be a B or it could be an 8. I've seen that mistake. I'll give it a couple more tries. No. If it's this one here, I'm a genius. I'm a genius. Let's go. You know, nothing's more satisfying than someone unfortunately incorrectly typing in some sort of code, and then I'm able to spot where the mistake should have happened. I'm an actual genius. Alright. Well, let's get into it. Ligma. Okay. So we're still running. I think last time we watched Lain's gameplay. Yo, Kiramochi, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you, my friend. Hope you're having a nice evening or morning, depending on where you're living. Sometimes I feel like I always stream at like the brink of time zones, where there's people that should not be up that are up, or there's people that are like just waking up. But I'm glad to have you here. Oh yeah, I need to type in this stuff. 1 second. I finally took some time today and I got in a lot more, what am I trying to say? I got in a lot more, why can't I use my brain? I was able to cut down some of these reviews because I need to get like, I just realized like time has flown. I'm almost 2 months behind on like getting content onto YouTube, so I need to start actually doing them 2 a day. Otherwise it'll literally never get done. So yeah, last time that we looked at Lain stuff. Okay, sorry, I was trying to refresh my brain on the previous one. But last time that we looked, sorry, 1 step at a time. Let me get this updated. Also, let me make sure Epic Pen's working after I move this. I mean, I always do this stuff before stream starts, and then when I don't, I feel like it takes forever on stream. The pressure. I'm under so much extreme pressure. Alright. Lain. This is, I believe it's still Hydra. Yep. And I believe they said they are where's C+? Haven't been playing. I see. Alright. So they're currently chilling in C+. Holy. Yo, Devi. Hello. Welcome in, readers. How is everyone? It do via pull. Welcome in, Vika. How was the stream? I know that you've been haven't been able to catch you live, but I've been going through some of the rebroadcast of your kind of just doing scrims and stuff with others, and I seen that you have been playing in some tournaments, so I know that you I feel like every time I watch you play, you're like playing something different, so I hope all is well in that respect. Sorry, I'm trying to get stuff organized on my end. I'm gonna assume this is serious. Actually, let me just double check real quick. But welcome in, everyone. Yo, Jamie. Jamie, how you been? It's always a joy to see you. Okay, I was serious. I'm a genius. Wait, is this Rainmaker again? Okay, okay. Wait, this isn't the same gameplay, is it? Oh, let me double check. I think it's different. Paintbrush? Oh yeah, it's different. Okay. But they actually got the same rotation. Map mode and everything. That's good. Okay, cool. Alright. Let me catch up with everything before we get started. Welcome in, RDB. Hello, hello, hello. How has everything been for your team as well? I know y'all have done a little bit of shuffling as well. I feel like I haven't seen, unless you've been playing with like at this point, I don't bother to check when people use like funny names. I feel like I haven't seen Stargaze play in a tournament in a little bit. But like I said, you'll have done some shuffling, so that might just be par for the course. Yo, J Squid. Yo, welcome in, welcome in. I've been struggling in the process of learning shooters. Yikes. We hate shooters. This is an anti-shooter stream. I say as I put in many thousands of hours of just Splash and Splatoon 3. My mechanics and spawlings are down now. Yeah, juggling between the two seems really difficult. I play a lot of shooters, but my mechanics are still really, really bad. I have to like push myself to actually be like faster. I'm in a weird spot right now because I don't know what people want. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, I don't know. I think some of it's gonna be determined by like what your core, like when you end up having like a set of players that you're confident with. Yeah, I don't know. Because we play quite a bit of splatlings. Like obviously ballpoint's in a good spot, but we also play quite a bit of heavy on a lot of maps, and we find it to be pretty solid. But yeah, all the best of luck. I've been messing with Blaster, and I've been picking Zap back up, which has actually been fun, but my brain is so programmed for just Splash that just painting with it was bad. Was this last rotation? I'm not sure. This is a replay code that someone else submitted. Also, shameless plug, if anyone wants a free review, feel free to join the Discord and just submit the code. We'll definitely get to it this week. Sometimes it's a few days of delay just because of the demand, but we will definitely get to it. Also, welcome in Dr. Pika, if I didn't say that before. I think, guys, I don't remember. I see names, I don't remember if I say them. Weird position right now, I'm packing the move. Oh yeah, you were mentioning that. Gotcha. Yeah, we should be same time zone, I'm pretty sure. So good stuff. Yeah, definitely the move is always going to be a busy time, so make sure that you focus on that. As someone that's a chronic procrastinator when it comes to moving, my wife gets really upset when I wait last second. Because she can't procrastinate like me, and she just gets it done. And then I feel bad because then she's doing everything, so then I have to do it. You think after all the moves that we've done, it would be better? Yo, what's up, Astral? Welcome in. What have you been up to with playing? Have you been playing more Splash, or have you been looking to try other stuff? Crying, I love shooters. We love shooters here, but like secretly, yeah, we got to be a little bit edgy, a little bit cool. Shooter bad, Hydra good. That's actually a based comment. I do hate that Yeah, Hydra doesn't have a spot in the meta currently. I still think it's like fine. It just I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think part of the issue with Hydra, weirdly enough, I don't know. I feel like Booyah Bomb's kind of mid in this game. It doesn't pain nearly as well as it did in 2, and I don't know. Like, that kid seems like a little bit like it's not bad by any means. Like Booyah Bomb's still very good, but it's like it and Crab are I don't know. The game has moved a little bit, but we hope to see it back. I can't hate shooters when I'm so good at them. Real. That's the truest comment. I'll get them back eventually since I'm enjoying the Devi. Let's go. Had to figure out a backup. Yeah, I can totally understand that. I've also like I think it was in your chat or maybe it was in Jim's Squid School chat, but somewhere started the Devi for Heavy Deco, and I just call Heavy Deco the Devi always. Simple and clean, like our favorite Square Enix game, except for Foam Stars. That's my new favorite. All doing separate things. I see. I see. Oh, you've decided the next tournament? Nice, nice, nice. Well, hopefully, I know it's going to be a little bit of a scramble to get everyone back together. Um, at least in many of my cases, it takes some time to gel back, but I'm excited to see y'all play again because y'all were definitely getting some nice results and really climbing up. So best of luck in whatever that next tournament is. Hopefully y'all are able to get into SAC. I think there's a lot of teams that can definitely like sneak in with qualifications, which we're trying to do, and I definitely think y'all have the chops to make it in as well. I want to mincemeat metalworks, but I like mincemeat. Outside of mincemeat clams, I actually really enjoy every other mincemeat mode. I only kind of enjoy TC, but I actually really love Rainmaker and zones on the map. Middle of tryouts again? Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of flexibility that you have to do depending on like what it is that you're aiming for with the rest of the team. Yeah, no worries. Do your thing. Good luck, good luck. I'll have to send you a 10 clip. Let's go, let's go. We love 10 clips. AI is our resident tent player, and I'm a big fan. Said at the beginning. Oh, yeah, okay, thank you. I'm a shower. Best of luck. We tried taking a shower yesterday, and our water went out, and then we got it back this afternoon, so I'll probably shower after the stream, and I'm excited for warm water. I've been experimenting with Rapid Blasters, mostly the Pro. Yeah, Rapid Pro Deco is really good, but I am scared that it might get a little bit outclassed. It might be a me issue. It could totally be a me issue, but what am I trying to say? I'm really scared about things just running at me. Like I feel like QR comps are just gonna chew me up. But I haven't played too much Rapid and competitive, but that's like my biggest concern is that people just run at me. The few times I played against 52, I've basically cried, and some of that's like some of it's legitimately a skill issue, but I don't know how much of it is the other stuff. You've been taking cold showers and it's brutal. Yeah, it's so bad. The worst part is that like it feels really nice when you're done, but it's awful. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. But then I'll see TikToks of people like jumping into ice baths, and I'm like, right on. I'm biased, mincemeat TC, because the perches are perfect for tri-stringer. Yeah, that is like an actual tri-stringer map. Speaking of tri-stringer map, I don't know if this is actually considered a tri-stringer map, but we're looking at Lain's heavy gameplay. Last time we were watching them play, they kind of found themselves between. Oh, also let me ping them real quick just in case. Just in case they're around at this very bizarre hour. Oh. Okay. Alrighty. Yeah, last time we were watching them play, some of their positioning was kind of between good spots. We were dropping down a little bit, and we just found ourselves in like awkward spots between high ground, or we'd be here, which is like between here and here. So I'm hoping we can establish ourselves in more like powerful positions. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. One thing, just generally looking at both comps, trying to think between the two. This is actually fascinating. I want to say that this team should be able to get popped pretty easily, but like throughout the middle of the game, if Hydra has a charge ready, Hydra can definitely threaten pop. So like there's some opportunities we can go for it, but at the beginning, I would definitely play it a little bit slower. We also have a carbon, so if we can just get more like broad paint at the beginning of the match, we should be able to create some space. Brush should also be able to create some space with paint, and also, you know, they're going to probably, you know, they might drop out here at the beginning, or they might play like over here and sign their name in the floor. But we'll see how it goes. I'm excited for this game. I think we're in a decent spot. We outrange everything on the other team, so we should be really comfortable as long as we take high ground in a lot of these spots. But yeah, if they start running at us, we cry. So we don't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but as long as we can establish ourselves early on, we'll be good. So, you know, at the beginning we can sit here, and then if they start pushing toward us, just sit up here. And if they're really in our stuff, we can get back here or up here. Otherwise, we start pushing forward on the stacks and we're like super chilling. So I feel good about this one. Yo, Ace of Clubs, welcome in, welcome in. So Ace of Clubs, are you do you play a lot of Brella? Or did you just have, or were you just playing it and got a clip with it? I'm excited to see more Brella play. I want to play with more like people that are actually like, I don't want to tell someone to play Brella, but if someone's actually a Brella main, I'm interested in playing with them. You dropped ballpoint all for Brellas. I respect it. You went from raining on the rest of the enemy team to protecting your team from it. It's very noble of you. All right, neither team's really going. Ouch. But we're in a good spot. Got to be a little bit careful. Where do we position here? Let's see. We'll let you cook. We'll let you cook. Yeah. See, we finally got to the point where we're like, okay, we finally should like not hold our charge anymore. It's good in this spot to just get general paint. Oh, I didn't back it up enough. So if you find yourself in a position where you're like kind of waiting on the enemy team, like here, like I kind of agree with your assessment. I'm scared to get onto this ledge. They are 2 down, so I'm less scared. Although we just splatted one of them. I'm less scared to take this, but ideally when we're in this type of situation, we should start using our charge to like get paint. When we have a numbers advantage, which some of our teammates are running in, so it's actually less of an advantage than we actually think, but we need to establish a lot of base paint. So I like that we're focusing on making sure that we don't get caught in these awkward positions, because it's very possible that these people could be running up on us. And I like that we're rotating to somewhere a little bit safer in this kind of scenario. But instead of holding on to charge this entire time and then slowly walking over here, you know, we kind of need to get some paint for ourselves and the rest of our team over here. More importantly, we need to get paint in this space, because this is going to be like a roadway for the enemy team to get in front of where we're doing Rainmaker. Also, thank you for the Hydra. I need to get some water after this, but Gatorade should do the trick. A dream do some grocery shopping, and they got me this 0 Gatorade. No, I'm kidding. I think they got the light blue one in that picture. I don't know why I know this information. Anyways. So yeah, this paint over here is good. And once we get this kind of paint and we can be a little bit more aggressive, then we can look to get paint like back here. But in general, when we're in these like weird spots, like they're not ready to push us because we just stopped Rainmaker. Like if we're just kind of waiting instead of just sitting here with our charge out, or like our holding the charge basically, we just want to get like paint out. And I would say good spots to paint in this spot. This isn't bad. Like this generally is solid. This area specifically, I want us to get painted. And then, you know, mid is obviously always really good. In general, focusing on central paint, like people always make like the chess and Splatoon analogy, but like getting paint in the central location is always very, very, very important. If you ever need a sub, I'll play Brella for you, or Boring Sloshes. Heard. Yeah, I want to do some more. I need to time some of my streams to, or at least during the stream, figure out when there's a good open rotation, because I want to do more. The few times we've done the open, especially with league powers and stuff, I've had a lot of fun. But I should like figure that out beforehand, because all that stuff's known. And find the good rotation that people want to play. But yeah, we want to focus the central paint, but also map specific. This area and this area, like I mentioned, will help us quite a bit. Because if we got that paint, we could also potentially help out our poor roller over here. Because this poor roller, like if we got paint toward mid, they'd have a potential ability to like back out this way. But because we've been holding our charge, we haven't gotten any paint, and now they're stuck, and now they're sad. So I think at a certain point you're like, okay, I need to start like painting and stuff. But yeah. I do like that we're trying to take central ground, and I like that we're repositioning based on the scenario. What is happening with this game? I can't tell if it's lag from the game, lag from the replay, or what's happening. Let me play this back again just to verify that what happened is what happened. Okay, it's just the game. Alright. We're gonna assume... what do we want to assume? We think it was like a windstorm or a thunderstorm. I'm gonna guess someone ran into the power lines. I had that happen to me once and our power went out temporarily. Which if our power went out, we get disconnected, but that's neither here nor there. We got temporarily a blip of very bad internet. And again, in this spot, we can either focus on the pop here, or we can like look to get this central paint. And that's like what our big focus is gonna be. So I like that we're taking good positions, but we don't want to miss out on like getting the paint out as well. Yeah, this is definitely awkward for us. This is okay. We take those booyahs though. The triple? Can we get the quad? We're gaming. And again, in this type of spot, we want to establish paint. So in this spot, we can also get paint in this area, and we can start to look to get paint. Like the paint that our team wants is up here. You know, some paint over here is good as well, so that they have more ability to maneuver. But paint up here on the enemy plot, and then as we push up, we can start getting paint in their bats, and we can start contesting people that are like trying to swim out. It's also good to get paint over here in case like we inevitably have to drop out. We just want to kind of look after our team in this respect, and we have a lot of ranges heavy, so this is kind of what we want to be doing in this kind of situation. It's really tough. 2 of our teammates went down. Yeah, I'd be a little bit careful about the pop, but... Trade's okay. I probably just would have jumped out in general in this spot, but... Our teammates are able to get stopped and we at least get trade before we go down. Oh no. Yeah, maneuvering with heavy is very awkward. It's something that definitely comes as you kind of keep playing the weapon. But yeah, these spots when we're not Sure, we gotta jump out at this point. Yeah. They got a lot of points here because the second that we drop off of the plat in the situation, we want to jump back so that we can prevent them from getting all the way to 2, because 2 is very scary, especially on this map. But these are also spots where we need to be getting more general P instead of just focusing on like where the next pick is going to come from effectively. My teammate picks it up. This game is a little latent. Teammate's going crazy. Alright. So now we can start. Okay, if we get this pick, this is really nice. Okay. So now we want to continue to reposition. Yeah. I don't know if we need the Booyah Bomb in this spot. We should be looking to push a little bit more forward. Okay. So my feeling with most of this game is that we're seeing good improvement on things that we wanted to work on. So like, I think you checked the boxes of all the things that I mentioned previously, which is great. It means that what I said made sense for you and you were able to implement it. Now we need to balance the rotations and the positions with proper paint. But one thing I do want to mention with positioning, I think for the most part you chose pretty good positions. There was a couple of times, I don't know if it was like potentially like mechanical issues or maybe we got a little bit scared, but there were some times when we were sitting up on like these blocks and stuff, and then we'd end up like dropping in the mid when the enemy team's trying to push this way. And if we ever accidentally drop into mid, or if we have to drop into mid because we are getting pressured, then we need to immediately jump back out so we can reposition to a better point. Because the enemy team got a push all the way to 2 because we dropped and then we rotated behind where they were pushing, so our teammates didn't have a back line for this push and they had to stop this themselves. And anytime that if we find ourselves in a position like mid, which is completely irrelevant, either completely irrelevant or completely dangerous, but in this spot it's irrelevant because the enemy team's trying to push past you. We need to jump out so we can reposition as fast as we can and stop them from just getting a bunch of free points through our plot. But this one opportunity, and like a lot of stuff is happening very quickly here. So it's probably like a newer type of situation for you, but you know, we're able to clear them out and our team's able to get picks, which is really nice. So they're 3 down. There's one more here. One thing I would say in this spot is that if there's only this one person here, we don't necessarily need to like charge all the way. I think we overcharge a little bit and we waste time getting this pick. As you play against better like paintbrushes in this kind of spot, they may potentially splat the Rainmaker because we're taking a little bit too long getting enough charge. Part of the skill, there's a lot of skillful parts to playing Hydra, but one of those skillful parts is the fact that we need to know how much charge that we need for that given circumstance. And like in this spot, we're only it's a little bit too big. We're only charging long enough to splat this person, because once we splat this person, we want to start moving forward with the rest of our team because we have to get all the way. You know, we basically have to KO or die while jumping to the podium to be able to take lead here. So we don't want to go for like a full charge in this kind of situation. We just want enough. I don't know exactly how much. This would be a good Devi question, but I would probably say between like, depending on how confident you are in your shots, like probably like a 1/4 or a 1/3, maybe half at the most of charge. Just enough to get that. And then we start moving forward because this last person's coming out of spawn because we just got 3 splats. Yeah, welcome in. Do you prefer going by like fresh Yoshi eggs, or do you want to go by Yoshi eggs or Yoshi? Do you have a preference on that? I don't know if I asked last time. But but welcome in. And yeah, the Booyah Bomb here is like just kind of slowing us down. Because this Booyah Bomb is gonna be out of, like, we can only get Booyah Bomb to like around here. And if we, like, Booyah Bomb's really good in this spot, but we want to be farther forward. So if instead of using it just wieners, okay, here there, I gotcha. Because if we position, so if we push with the Rainmaker and we're like a little bit behind them because we're a little bit slow. Yo, welcome in, Luna. Hello, hello, hello. How are you? So in this spot, if we position and move with our teammates because there's no enemy threats, if we make it onto their plat and then we booyah, we can booyah like this corner that they want to defend from, or we can, at that point, they may drop this way and we can get the Booyah Bomb in the front. And that Booyah Bomb is going to help our team quite a bit. But we can see that even at max range, the rest of the team is like pushing past. So it's a little bit too slow and the positioning isn't ideal in this type of spot. I'm doing well. How are you? I'm actually doing really well. I was able to, like the last week, I've gotten into much better of a schedule, which I need to do over time, but I'm glad I was able to do it pretty quick. We just had random problems around the apartment. Like I said earlier, like we ran out, like we don't have, well, I think they fixed it, but the hot water keeps like messing up. So hopefully after the stream, I can take a nice hot shower. Otherwise it's been really nice. The weather has been very, very nice recently. So I've been able to go on like longer walks with the dogs, which has been a good time. Yeah, everything should be fine. It's just, this is like a slightly newer place and, they run into some growing pains, some issues. It happens. But our team's able to push in the spot to get the KO. So, so I will say with this review, definitely like super, like 2 thumbs up when it comes to the positioning. And I think we almost, in certain cases, we almost did it to a little bit of a fault. But I mentioned before, like I just put the entire emphasis on positioning. I realized I don't know how to draw a thumb, like a thumbs up. This does not look, this is where I would need Luna's artistry. We're just gonna put arrows up. I loved that we were like, I could tell that you were very focused on like positioning, and we found ourselves in really nice spots at the right moments. Like opening, being here is great. You know, somewhere along this area is great, but this block is awesome. And then, you know, as the team's pushing up, we're repositioning a little bit safer, but still high ground. When our team's ready to push, we're moving forward. This is all really, really, really good. So we love to see this. So that part, like, awesome. The next thing that we want to balance a little bit between this is that we want to look to paint while repositioning. Oops. Because there's certain spots where we're holding our charge for a long time, which is causing us issues. And I don't blame you for it, because this is another, I was mentioning before, like when you were here and you're trying to get a splat on the paintbrush in this spot, as a heavy, you only want to charge enough to get that pick, because after that pick, you're ready to move forward. That's like one skill, is to know how much charge you're looking to get for whatever situation you're in. And that's like a very uniquely heavy kind of thought. Or sorry, a uniquely Hydra thought, because like things like heavy and ballpoint, you can like get more paint out a little bit easier on average. So that's part of it. The other thing is when we're looking to reposition in spots, trying to figure out where we want to paint. So we'll go through a couple of examples here just so I can visually show you. But just in general, if I could draw a C, central paint, and trying to get paint anywhere in the center of the map or the center of where your team's trying to go. So like toward the beginning of the game, and there was some spots here where mid was fully covered in enemy paint. And like when you're sitting here or like you're positioning up here, like we want to try to help with this paint over here. But like as we're trying to push up, the new mid, when our team is trying to push the Rainmaker after the first checkpoint, is basically going to be the enemy plot. Potentially the enemy bats as well. But like this is like the new central paint basically. So we want to focus getting good paint over here because that's where our teammates are generally going to push through. They might go this way. They might, you know, play like, there's not too many routes you can take on this map, let's be real. But there are some different routes and you can't cover everything as a Hydra. So just in general, like focus on the center and then try to figure out where to paint. So central paint just, and central can be relative, but for the most part, it'll be like the middle of the map. But as you're defending, so like on this map, central paint is either mid. If the enemy's pushing Rainmaker after first checkpoint, you'll be up here, you might be here, you might be up here. And then this is the new center when we're on defense. And then same thing, we'll be up here, might be over here. It could potentially be all the way up here depending on how far up on the push it is. We could also be over here. And then this is like the central paint when we're on offense. So like this, what central means will shift a little bit depending on the specific situation in front of you, but it's an important concept to know. So when in doubt, focus on central paint. After that, cut off enemy. Oops. Whole erase car behind this. So we want to cut off enemy routes. And I usually, like, I put this in priority. This probably in certain cases will be higher priority than the central one. But in certain circumstances, like if the enemy team's like pushing and everything, and then we end up wiping them, like we did, where we were able to get them out of our area and everything, and we're able to start pushing back in the mid. So if we're over here, or we're like right here, and we can start pushing in the mid, it's still good to get paint in this type of area, over here, and like back here, and prevent them from being able to like push us. Because as a heavy, we're going to be sitting here, we're going to be sitting here, and like slowly we'll be able to push up. You know, like we'll slowly maneuver ourselves into more, like slowly into more attacking positions, the farther and more control that we have as a team and where the objective is at the time. And so as we do that, the enemy route to get to you is going to shift a little bit. But, you know, when we're trying to start initially getting aggressive, so, oh shoot. So if we're positioning in either of these areas, like this is a threat, this is a little bit of a threat as well. All of this is definitely a threat, and then any paint that's on our plat is a threat. So, you know, it doesn't have to be like perfect turf war painting where we're trying to get every little bit. Yo, welcome in, Sons. Hello, hello. I can't play heavy, the charge times throw me off. Probably because I've always played BP. Yeah, if you switch, that's what I was saying before. Like I'm playing Zap seriously for the first time, and like sort of seriously, since Splatoon 2. And I played so much Splash that like painting as a Zap, it feels really weird compared to using Splash, even though they're both like short range shooters. It's not like hard, but it is, in order to be optimal, it's definitely a lot different. Also, your ink economy changes quite a bit, so I can definitely understand that. Heavy's not bad, but yeah, compared to not in BP, it's a different world. So it's important for, you know, we want to make sure that we cut off the enemy routes before we support our team, which is going to be the third point, because we want to protect ourselves. And like as a backline, our teammates should be working on this as well, but we need to protect ourselves before we start protecting our teammates. And it's really good to do that. And if we're playing this in other modes, like if we're playing on TC, for example, it's still really important here, but getting paint in this area is really nice. And it's important because if we try to position onto this wall and we don't have this painted, people can get underneath us when we're sitting here and they can like climb up this wall. And it's a little bit more awkward for them on Rainmaker because they can only climb through this little sliver here, but something that we need to keep in mind. And then after we have this stuff kind of figured out, then we can worry about like paint to support. I'm just gonna say team push. It's just like the team in general, but like where the team wants to go. So like for this game-winning push that we had at the end, when you're sitting here, like I'm glad that you like prioritized getting this pick first because they're threatening the Rainmaker. After that though, this is where we want to start painting this area because that's where our teammates are trying to push. And then once we have control of this area, we rotate into this type of position and we can slowly rotate, you know, a little bit farther forward. We can also play over here. There's different ways that you can play their plot depending on the circumstances. But let's say that we're like sitting, you know, so we get this paint and then we start moving up and we get into like this kind of position and we can inch our way forward a little bit. Then we want to paint over here, or maybe we get some paint up here so that our teammate can go for like a flank over here. But you know, once we have mid controlled and once we have ourselves protected, then we can really start pressuring the enemy team and getting paint in the areas that our teammates are trying to push. In certain spots, like this is why central paint is so important, because central paint in a lot of cases yeah. So a lot of times when we're painting centrally, it'll naturally cut off the enemy routes because getting paint in mid, when people are trying to rotate left, rotate right, start pushing either way or having to retreat potentially, in all of these spots, they're going to be, in most cases, the most efficient way of moving is through middle. And that's why the central paint's important. So I like focusing on that first because it is like the main priority. And then in a lot of cases, it will naturally just cut off the enemy routes and it'll also help support the team. And that was a spot that your Carbon got into in this type of position where they were like trying to take a fight and you were, you were rotating ready for the, trying to hold once the enemy team takes control, which isn't a bad idea. But like, as we're trying to get into that position, if we're able to start getting some paint over here, it potentially gives our Carbon a way to rotate backwards. And we can keep them alive by getting this type of central paint. So it's a lot to manage, and this game is not easy. It's always difficult trying to manage all these things. But kind of the next step, as you're kind of repositioning and you're trying to get into good positions, like I want you to keep doing that because you did an excellent job this game. You did a phenomenal job throughout the entire game. But that next step is that we're focusing on doing that painting while we're getting into those positions and trying to get both of them done at the same time. And then that'll kind of be the next part of it as well. Because if you're trying to paint certain areas, like this paint also goes back to positioning, especially as a backliner. Because if you're trying to get paint into mid, you can only get that from like certain positions. Hydra has quite a bit of range, so you can paint from a lot of different areas. But that's one thing that we're gonna really want to focus on for this. So let me just quickly, we're gonna kind of zoom through this game. But in spots that I want you to get paint, I'm gonna kind of talk through them. I think this is fine. Charging up while this pop happens is good because once the pop happens, you can start painting over all of the orange paint. Unfortunate our teammates did this. This is like, at the rank that we're at, like this happens. I mean, even at super high ranks, this still happens. But if I'm your team, I probably wouldn't fully commit to this. Or if we're going to commit, at least your Glugas, if they're a little bit more attentive, they can throw a wall down and protect the rest of the team from getting splatted here, which you'll see commonly. Like Splash Wall can't help with the pop, but you can at least fight for space immediately after the pop by using that as a shield to allow you to get to positions that you otherwise wouldn't be able to get to. None of that's a concern here, but important to bring up for anyone that has a Splash Ball in their kit. So yeah, getting ready in this spot, like this opening is like great. We're in a great position. We have a charge ready. If anyone tries to do anything funny, or if they start trying to push this way, we still have to hit shots. Like this isn't like the easiest shot for you, but we have like big play potential. So I love the way that we've set up. If we had any teammates painting with us and repositioning with us, which one of them did stay alive. Kudos to the Carbon for staying alive here. You know, this paint that you got at the beginning here is like so good. It's so important because it prevents this person from like being able to move forward. They move back because we get paint where they're trying to go. So this is really good, and then we're able to get picks and stuff. Unfortunately, we don't get 2 there. But this is a spot, so right here, when you still have your Carbon, so if your Carbon was down, and this is where things kind of get in the weeds, and I'm not expecting you to be perfect at this all the time. If your Carbon was down, then I'm okay with us trying to get over here as fast as possible. But if we're trying to get over here as fast as possible, we paint for ourselves so we can swim and like squid roll into this position, because you're trying to get to this position, but we just want to be faster. If we're unable to paint because we need to get into position, otherwise we get, you know, splatted by the enemy team because they're just running at us. Which again, if your Carbon's down, that's the position we're in. Then we just need to paint for ourselves and try to be a little bit faster, like swimming and moving and painting for ourselves in like these short range repositions. Because we take a really long time holding charge to like slowly meander up to the sledge. And it's like the worst of both worlds. We're slow to reposition and we're not painting at the same time. So we want to avoid that kind of situation. But especially since like your Carbon's still alive in this spot, when you're here, we can start painting here and we can start getting central paint. So I'm okay with you like continuing to back out and everything and like getting into this type of position. But as we're doing that, let's get the central paint. Or if we're not going to get central paint, at least get some paint over here and then we can move over here. But if we're going to do that, we want to commit to it quickly. Otherwise, this is like not bad. And again, when we're in this spot, it's okay. Like we want to have a charge ready for them to push, but there's a timing window here. And that's the thing with Hydra, is that it's a series of like timing windows, because there is like charge time to actually get enough paint to really be able to, you know, splat or paint or do whatever. There's a lot of like, it's awkward as a Hydra, but you can also paint for a really, really long time if you have a good charge up. But once you're in this spot, we need to immediately start getting paint. So what do we focus on when we're painting in this spot? So the first thing that I would do is I would just get paint around the podium and around this like choke point. Because the enemy team's gonna try to push through this like area here. It's very awkward for you to get paint down here, so I wouldn't focus on that. But like definitely get paint behind and around the podium. If you want to paint some over here, you can. If you want to paint here, you can. I don't know the max range of Hydra here. You probably can get the top of the stack. But I would focus on this first. And then once you have that, then, you know, you can paint for yourself over here in case you have to eventually like swim out faster. But we can start just painting toward mid, like get this area and then we can focus mid, or we can focus this area because it hasn't been painted yet. That's kind of up to your discretion. But we want to paint the area that the enemy team's trying to get to. We want to cut off their routes. Central paint is like a little bit awkward because we're positioned where we're at. This is still a good position. So, but getting the central paint is going to be a little bit difficult. So just try to focus on this at least. And then maybe we can get a little bit with this without compromising our position. But the other important thing about consistently painting, which you did a good job of showing here, is like getting booyah bombs. Like you were able to constantly get booyah bombs and you're able to use them. We can work on the effectiveness of booyah bombs in a future review. But I think for the most part, like your ideas were really good. In certain spots, we were a little bit slow getting into positions to use them, but your like timings of when you're trying to use booyah bomb is really, really, really good. But in order to build the booyah bomb, we need to paint, and like we would have booyah bomb ready. So if we paint this area and we get some paint over here, or we get some paint over here, we can paint those areas. So the enemy team gets slowed down, so they have to paint over it to be able to get the Rainmaker onto the checkpoint. The other thing that it does is that it builds the rest of our special. We're really close to booyah bomb. And if we get this paint out and we're very like just snappy with this whole situation, this area will be painted and we can get our booyah bomb. You know, we can go into the skies and start getting ready to throw the booyah bomb while they're getting Rainmaker to the first checkpoint. but it does require us to be a little bit faster and more efficient with the way that we situate ourselves. And I understand that you want to have it like, because I can from your, I'm pretty sure in the spot you're trying to think like, I want to have a charge up so once the Rainmaker comes, I can splat them before they get it. But, as your teammates start moving forward and slowing the enemy team down, you have at least one cycle of like heavy charge time for you to just get that pain out, and then you can charge another one that'll be used for that. But those timing windows are very awkward and they change all the time. Like it's a very timing windows are always very dynamic depending on the enemy comp, enemy skill level, the paint that's already on the ground. There's a lot of factors. So it's something that you'll slowly get better at, but we want to try to refine it a little bit because we're doing really good job at positioning, but we're doing it at the sacrifice of us painting the map. This type of spot's a little unfortunate. I think you were trying to reposition on top of the block and accidentally dropped off, and we lost our ability to stop the checkpoint there, but it happens. This is some funny latency moments. And like backing up there and then moving forward, all this is good. We're trying to back outside of the wiper's range here. Like all this in terms of like taking the fights is awesome. Struggling a little bit getting onto the block. Again, it happens. And this is a spot where, yeah, as we're charging, we're trying to determine, are they going to pick it up and go, or are they not going to? And if they didn't pick it up as fast as they did, at a certain point, I want you to just start getting like your shots out and start painting and cutting off the enemy route in this spot. But you're positioned to do this perfectly, and you're able to stop them without them getting a big push. Again, in this spot, we immediately jump out because our position is fully compromised. We cannot help with the push in this type of spot. And we try to salvage the situation, which causes us to leave them open for, or actually I think this one, oh yeah, this one we actually get the picks with the Booyah Bomb. This is where we get the quad. Shout out to the quad, let's go. The solo quad. Yeah, and again, in this position, because we just splatted 4 of them, we can paint up this wall. We can already look to reposition in this spot and focus on the central paint on offense, which, like we were talking about before, that offensive central paint is going to be this area. So we get here, we start painting this area, and then when the enemy team, they might push through this way, they might push over here. We get our charge ready after we get this paint down, and then we're ready to fight. So, we use the first charge to get paint in the area, and then that second charge, or maybe third charge, depending on how fast you are, and depending on the timing windows, you can paint a little bit and then focus on the battle paint. And we gotta get out of there. All this is totally fine. It's awkward being a heavy main. Or sorry, a Hydra main. Yep. And we're doing a good job of getting paint here. Unfortunate with the having to jump. Whenever I play this weapon, I do way worse. I miss even easier jumps. But yeah, this is a spot where we want to start painting. And I can see, yeah, and at this point we have to jump out. But I can see from your, like, I know that your brain is thinking about these things because you're holding on to this charge, and I know that you're ready to start painting at any given moment. Like, I can just tell that you're ready to start painting, but you're scared, you're going to start painting, they start picking it up, and then, oh no, like I have to recharge before we can get the splat, which, again, that's one of the struggles that comes with the territory of playing heavy as a weapon. But the one thing I will say, if you're ever in one of these kinds of predicaments where it's like, I don't know if I should paint, I don't know if I should hold a little bit longer to try to get the pick, I would always err on the side of painting. I would focus on paint. So like, I would focus paint over pick or splat or whatever. But I only have enough for a few letters, so we're going to use the word pick instead. And there's going to be times where getting the pick is more important than painting. And there's times you demonstrated earlier in the game where that's been the case. But if you're unsure and you don't know which one to go for, just err on the side of painting, because painting overall will slow them down. And depending on how much charge you have, you can use like the charge for the heavy is like, I mean, Hydra is forever effect, not really forever, but it's a really long time. So you can start getting paint, and then at a certain point, if they pick it up, you probably still have enough charge. As long as you're in a good enough position, like you can kind of swing out a little bit in this type of spot, and we could still cover this area. But there's a lot of times where I can just tell in your brain, it's like, I don't know, like I don't want them to get Rainmaker points, but I know I need to paint. And just to like simplify a little bit for you, if you find yourself in that situation, just let go of the charge, just start getting that paint down. Trying to give paint more as a tip after every review. It's so hard. It's so important. It's like my entire Splatoon competitive journey has been thinking about painting. The one thing that's been fascinating watching a lot of different weapons is how painting actually applies. Because I didn't really think on a lot of these spots, I didn't really think about paint and of like how a Hydra paints kind of thing. But no, you're totally right. But that goes to show how important it actually is, and how much, you know, we can practice. Like after, when I have some time and I'm just chilling and watching other streams, I'm going to be sitting in Recon mode, and I'm going to select every map, at least every competitive map that gets played. Sorry, mincemeat. I wish it wasn't so. But I'm going to pick every map that I'm going to see, and I'm just going to play Zap, and I'm just going to paint the whole map. And, you know, it's not the fact of just like, oh, I'm just going to make sure, like the goal isn't just to paint the whole map. The goal is to sit in common spots that you would sit with that weapon and get comfortable painting, understanding its range, you know, of the weapon that you're using, so that you're comfortable in these spots. You need to stop with the mincemeat propaganda. You just wait until Foam Stars comes out. Also, is Foam Stars going to, are they going to take Splatoon's method of naming maps? Can someone come up with a Foam Stars like map name? I'm not clever enough. I know that one of y'all can do better than me. Like Bubble Bowl, if they teamed up with SpongeBob, that'd be sick. But all I can think is like bubbles and like jets and stuff. I don't know. Misty Meadows is clean. Also, that could be a Fortnite location, and I wouldn't know the difference. So it doubles as Fortnite, which makes me happy. But yes, thank you. I knew someone would be better at me than this. Misty Meadows. But yeah, like you see that they get this giant push because we're not in a position. And like if we jump out, if we immediately drop and jump out, yes, they're going to score a lot of points, but they're not going to get this far. We can set up out of spawn and defend Rainmaker and be able to save the game. Because in most cases, when something like this happens, a lot of times they're just going to KO, and we don't want that to happen. So that's like the best. The best thing we can do is just jump out. Even if we do, you know, potentially get a pick here, that's something that we need to be considerate of. This Booyah Bomb was really good. This probably potentially saved the game for us. And in this case, we're like able to kind of paint and also kind of slay at the same time. You know, focusing pick there is good. Repositioning in this spot is good. This is where I would have gotten this and then immediately move forward, but you know, it was most of the decisions early on when it comes to painting versus repositioning, because the map kind of just played out. Like the rest of this game went into like hyperdrive for the rest of the match, but yeah, overall this was definitely much better. Last time I focused on positioning, and we accomplished positioning, so I'm very proud of you, very happy. But the next thing is continue the good positioning. Like part of this is still we want to keep the positioning, you know, continue to be aware of it like we were this game, but also focus on this paint as well. And then we'll be super chilling. Then our teammates will carry the game for us, and we'll be happy. And we won't have to get quads, and we won't have to get these crazy Booyah Bombs to save the game. But yeah, I didn't even 15 spots is crazy for as fast as the game that was. But we did get a lot of booyah bombs, which, you know, this is good. Yo, take care, RDB. And again, excited for you all to compete again as a team. I think Meadows. Isn't it like Musty Myers or something? I've only played Fortnite once. Is that what it's called? Misty Meyer? No, that was a recommended search. Musty Fortnite. Misty Meadows? Moisty? I don't know what's happening. Bro, it's just giving me like, now it's showing Rocket League stuff because I type in the word musty. Map locations. Alright, let's look at the Fortnite map locations real quick. There's gotta be something. Oh yeah, but they always change the map. Where's Sun? And if Sun wasn't being studious, I could ping him and he could tell me what it is. He would know. I trust Sun with all my Fortnite. Oh, this has got some new one. Misty Meadows. Oh wait, that was a Fortnite one. I still like it though. I think it can double. I think they just take the name. Do you drop point for foam stars? That sounds good. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. All right. Yeah, overall, that was a good review. Also, I played a zones rotation before. Sorry, Bab. X-Ray and I got a higher power in duos. We kept KOing the enemy teams again and again. And then I might have fumbled a little bit one of the games and we lost 60 points and then I just stopped playing. Sorry, brother. Yeah, how does that work for you? I guess it'll probably show you the threes. Did we get gold on threes or no? I also dropped the ball on that one too. I blame my lack of knowledge on Zap. But yeah, that's kind of the next step for you, Lain. But as quickly as you were able to adapt the new positions and everything, I think, you know, paint is a very, as Sun's very kindly mentioned, it's something I put a lot of emphasis on because it's really hard to like perfect basically. So it's something that you'll continue to work on, but the balance between repositioning and painting, for some weapons like shooters, it kind of goes hand in hand. When you're repositioning, you're going to paint anyways, which there's still ways to min-max that. But if something is like heavy, it can be a little bit awkward because of the charge times. All right. What is next? Let's see if I can use these Discord tags for our own benefit. I think this is Mana's gameplay. I haven't reviewed Mana stuff, so let's take a look at that one. So let me make sure the code is good. I can't believe I also sniped the code and I fixed the letter that was not correct. I'm an actual genius. Although most of the times when there's a problem with the code, it's because I typed it in wrong. It's because back in the day when I was playing on like Xboxes online, you had to pay for that as well. And you'd always buy like these little like scratch off cards and you have to like scratch off the code and type it in. And the one thing that Nintendo's done with all of this that was really good is like they get rid of some of the options. So you can't have O or 0. I think it's just 0. So like some of the ones where there are duplicates, like I think I and 1, they like get rid of the I. So like Nintendo does a good job of that, but other companies don't do that, which made it even more infuriating. There's a lot of wasted time fixing codes. All right, anyways, long story short, also it's not a long story short, we're switching topics. Let's get into this Clam Blitz game. This is Mana. They were on Gal. Let's go. Also, when does Gal get a new kit, you know? Inkblot clans. I think this was okay. Series. Cool, cool, cool. They didn't give a rank, but I would probably guess it's around, you know, either S or S plus since it's earlier on in the season. But Man is a very solid, like, competitive player. Bend over. Hee hee hee. Oop. So, let me catch up real quick. You had placed your tactical on top of me with a gun 2500. Easy. I keep forgetting that you have to jump when you throw the zap coolers. Sometimes I just try to throw it in front of me and it just goes like a foot in front instead of me throwing it into mid. I actually almost threw one of the games. I think it was one of the games we won, but I had a really badly timed, badly placed tactical. I still can't get over seeing the Foamstar announcement. The first tweet I see, don't think people will be foaming out the mouth for this one. I will. Square Enix, give me the code. I will carry that game. Surely. Alright. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Unironically, though, I am excited to see what comes of the game. I'm not sure how confident I am about the game as a whole. But I want people to start playing it. Although I think people played it in the during the summer game fest. I wonder if there's like gameplay out. But I need like someone like good at the game, you know? It's like for like Splatoon as an example, like if like, which all opinions are valid, but for myself, I'm like hyper competitive. So I'm less concerned about like I have a very niche type of opinion that I'm looking for about the game, and I don't know how many people that played, or like, you know, I need Pro Chara or I need Dude to get their bag and get their ambassador sponsorship with the with the game, so that we really know what's happening. If you'd squash me with a yeah, just put the tacticaler on top of your head and you can just walk around and give us all of the sodas. Which I think the damage, that would be hilarious. It doesn't even, okay. Doing damage would be nice. I would be okay with it just to have a satisfying like noise when it hits objects or if it hits other people. Like a nice thunk, or just a funny like clown like noise, like a spring noise if it like hits someone. Just go full goof mode. Pizza delivery special win. I'm here for it. It'd be cool if there was something that gave like an aura around. I think I'm just describing armor. I'm gonna do the thing where I just describe armor as a special and say they should make that. No gal kit unless it's ink marker ink vac. If it was marker with another special, I'd unironically be here for it. Although I think marker would be awful for 52 because you're playing at like very like, I don't know. It doesn't really help you in a lot of spots. Or like ink marker like legit helps blaster in a lot of spots. Try can have a one-shot combo again. Are you doing some inkjets in the air with your stringer? Holy. Where's the clips? Let's see the clips. I want to get hyped for you. Instead of the little arrow it shows up, it's a big yeah, I'd be okay with only having 2 sodas if you could just like move it to everyone else. Angle shooter blob, that actually would be kind of good. No lie. Although I'm not gonna have propaganda for blob. I think it would be cool for it to be an interesting weapon. My biggest problem with blob is like the fact that you have to play this video game online and latency is a problem. And sometimes I just can't, like, you can't thread the needle, which it doesn't make it like, it just frustrates me because you can't dodge the projectiles in a satisfying manner. You just have to like give up the space. Like, it's not hard to dodge, but it's annoying that you can't satisfyingly like kind of move through the shots. Because sometimes you just get splatted by blobs. The geometry, blah blah. Yeah, blob ball makes sense. But blob ink marker would be kind of sick. Because Blob is like, it positions in a way where you'd get a lot of value out of marker IMO. Can share it in clips. Let's go. Let's go. All right. Anyway, speaking of let's go to the replay. All right. So we're playing, sorry, we're playing 52. We have double brush in a shooter. So overall, we're like basically going to be like a dive comp. We have decent paint, but we have a lot of aggression and we have a lot of bombs like the rest of our team. So we have a lot of ways to get in and kind of punish the enemy team. So I really like our comp, especially for like series and solo queue and stuff. Like there's definitely better comps, but this is like a very solid comp. We're playing against Double Blaster, Tetra, and the V-Shot. So their team doesn't have nearly as much paint. They have a lot of aggression and they have a lot of short range plays that they can go for, but we're kind of chilling. I'd like to see us get a lot of value out of our walls this game, but they do have a lot of bombs, so we have to be careful about playing around their walls. So realistically, we can probably play off of our team specials. If there's an opportunity for us to go in, we can, but we don't have to force as much as we might have to in other games as 52. I want to see us playing around our team a lot more. Whether like all their specials we can play off of, all their bombs we can play off of. I think for the most part, we're doing well. For this map in general, as 52, we can play these lanes really well because of our wall. Like 52 is a short range shooter. It doesn't do a good job in like these, or with the main weapon alone, it doesn't do well in these long lanes. Fortunately for its kit, it has splash wall, which you're not really fighting up here. But you have splash wall, which allows you to fight in all of these areas. So we're really happy in this kind of scenario to take these types of positions and fight in these longer lanes, as long as we can get our wall down. Which the wall, there's like a little bit of startup time before it actually starts working for you. So, you know, we need to make sure we properly play around it. Because if we don't, we can get one shot by a lot of things. We don't get one shot here, but we can get splatted pretty quick. Even this can splat us pretty quick. But once we can establish ourselves, like I think we can play a little bit more patient this game, which some 52 games you have to play very aggressive, but there's a lot of flexibility to what we can do. And like we're also 52, so we can just solo carry the game at any given moment. But I like us pushing this left side because we get to use this as cover until we can get our splash wall out. You know, we can get it out in like this kind of scenario, and then we can like take some more space and we can look to take fights here, here, up here. Like we can force a lot and we can fight for this space really, really well. And like we're the only one on our team that's feasibly able to do it. We also could potentially, at the beginning of the match, we could drop down over here. Like it's very common to see, especially wall weapons, but also just like aggressive weapons, like take this left drop at the beginning. So I'd be okay doing this. I think it's going to be a little bit faster on average than this way. So if we're trying to do this either way, I kind of like this better. But the nice thing about starting the way that you did is that you can opt to take mid as well. And you can throw a splash wall in this type of spot, and you can fight anyone that looks to drop in the mid. So we get more options here, but if your end goal during the opening is to take this way, I would focus on pushing through this left flank. Although I haven't timed it, so I could actually be wrong, but I'm almost certain left is faster. Me being a nerd about my main. Get out of here, emo. You can also make the Tetra goalies unable to play the game. True. Anytime we can stop the Tetras from having fun is a good day for us. Suns and X-ray, cover your ears. Nice. So I would have, again, I would have preferred us to get a wall down. So the one thing about openings, and depending on the level of skill for a particular match, your results may vary. But anyone at the beginning of the match, when you're like painting and getting into mid, everyone should be checking their minimap. And they should see, like if they're really smart, they'll just expect this type of play because it's very excuse me, very common for 52 to go over here. But even if they're just checking their minimap, they can see that like we're pushing over here. We didn't overcommit, so you know, this pink gives us away, but they might not be checking for this specifically. But I think with our comp, I don't think that we need, especially with the wall, like I don't think we need to be as sneaky here. Like a lot of times I talk between the dynamic of being like sneaky versus being big, which is probably a better word than big, but I like the word. And when I say big, I just mean like being a presence. And like the nice thing about 52 is like you can be big, you can be that scary presence anytime you throw down a wall, because they have to respect the splash wall. And instead of putting ourselves into potential danger, like we do in this spot, like we're in a little bit of danger here because any bombs, any main weapons that get shot at us, there's a chance that we get splatted here. I think in other parts of the match, like later on, I think going for this type of shark, situationally, sometimes I'm going to like it more than going for the wall. But at the beginning here, especially if we were to go left side, we can get to the spot before them and we can get our wall down before they can start throwing stuff at us. So we know that we're safe. But we have to be very aggressive there in our opening. And like we have to be very deliberate. Either way, nice mechanical play. Nice follow-up. We're chilling. So yeah, this is another situation for us to throw the wall down and look to be big. It's kind of minor. I'm not going to be super nitpicky on walls this game, but instead of the wall being like this, we could instead make the wall like this way. That does a better job protecting us from, you know, the threats that are likely coming from this side of the map. So in order to do that, we can just like throw the wall and like bounce it off of this, and then it'll get into position like this. But again, I'm not going to be super nitpicky here. I just like that we got the wall down, but our teammates don't always know how to play around the wall, and we can make our life easier for our teammates by positioning it in a way where they can't really mess it up. I'm always a little bit conflicted by this. I'm fine with us going in for, like, I'm fine with us keeping the basket open here, especially since we lead with our shield and our special. But I don't know if I like us just, okay, because I don't know what to call this, but we're basically like, we're just going to throw clams in until we die, but we're guaranteeing in this spot that we never survive. And I don't love that. There's a good chance when we go for these anyways, we're probably going to get splatted, but we can get a couple in. But I'd rather us throw like 1 or 2 in and like look for a potential pick. Like follow our whale onto this tetra, you know, get a couple of clams in and then like stick to this wall and look to play around this blaster. But I'd like us to try to get a little bit more value in the spot than just getting clams in, which there is a sacrifice where like we can't, sometimes we might not be able to get as many clams in. But the other thing, oops, all these open lanes. One thing about this kind of weapon is that if we can move forward and like stick to this wall, we can probably almost get enough ink to be able to throw another splash wall down. And that can give us more cover and we can be more annoying. And potentially at that point, we might be able to get more clams in than we would in this type of situation. But I'm just scared about us just giving them the free pick here. I want them to work for it a little bit more, even if it comes at the sacrifice of our, of us not getting 1 or 2 extra clams. Because in those spots, a lot of times the enemy team is more panicked than you think. And you can actually, especially as a 52, you can actually get picks in those types of spots. And you can keep, because if you get like 1 or 2 picks there, like and you're not going to get that consistently, but if you go for that, you might be able to get a push that's like 50, 40, potentially even a KO. And I like keeping those type of options open. The other thing that it does is that it gives you a chance to potentially be able to jump out or potentially be able to stay alive and just stall. But again, as a 52, I like that we're going for, you know, these kind of flanky routes. We know where the enemy team's trying to go. We're just waiting for them to start making their push. All this is good. be a little bit careful when we're pushing left here. Like they know that we're in this spot. Like we just painted and they know that we're here. There's a chance that this potentially directs us if the Luna's playing a little bit more deliberate with how they're shooting. Because like we're trying to be sneaky here, but they know where we're at. They don't know exactly where we're at, so you know, because they don't know our exact position, it allows us to get past them and then shoot at them. So like this play isn't bad. I just want to kind of keep that in mind. That this is like, especially against like a Luna or just some sort of blaster, there's a chance that they're like they go for like, because of this Luna, they should probably go for like one shot and then immediately back up. If they get a hit marker or something, then they can like look to potentially come back or throw a bomb to follow up and just kind of chill. But you know, if they play this a little bit better, A, you might get directed and you might get splatted, but B, there might not be an opportunity for this. Another small minor thing here, which I said I wasn't going to nitpick about walls, but now I'm nitpicking about walls. So when we're pushing across mid, when we're pushing across in this kind of situation, like we're effectively like, we see a bunch of shots going off here, so we can assume that the enemy's fighting our own team. We don't really need a wall here. We need like a wall like here in case someone's pushing this way. Like we want our wall to protect us against the people over here versus the people that we're trying to flank in this type of spot. Because just throwing the wall here and moving forward, there's a chance that this person gets a suction bomb on the other end of it, and then our wall now becomes a liability. So that's where, you know, if we just throw it and we run past the wall, that's where we potentially put ourselves into issues. Which fortunately this person's going for something over here. They weren't following your movement as well as they could be. Because if they were sitting here when you threw this wall down, then you get suction bombed and you just explode. So we want to be a little bit careful. Like I like that we get a wall out, but I'd rather angle it. You know, even if it's like this, it's like fine. But like angling it toward this common area still potentially leaves us open if they push from the side that they're going, but it's still at least a small thing that we could be doing a little bit better. Which we could forego the wall altogether because we end up moving past it, but if we wanted to take some time and protect ourselves from the enemy plot, just angle it toward that threat. And don't just try to angle it toward, you know, the direction that you're going. Okay, I'm going to continue to use this left side, which is good. I'd be careful about playing around this Luna. Again, we're just potentially leaving ourselves open to a suction bomb when we walk past this, and it's just a little bit scary. So I just want us to be mindful of this. Like, we're probably not going to get punished too much, but they do have 4 bombs. If any of them catches you, and like it's very common, I don't know if there's actually anyone there now, but there's a pretty decent chance that there's someone sitting up here and can actually like directly punish us in this kind of spot. So I would just, again, I'd just be a little bit mindful in those types of scenarios. But looking for those fights are good. Yeah. And one thing I really like that you do throughout this match is that you get the first pick and then you like continue the push. Oh, this is light Tetris. Sorry, I thought that was the auto bomb one. All right, 3 bombs. 3 bombs and some sprinkles. My bad. Good call though, good call. I appreciate the correction. I just assumed it was the less fun Tetra. Okay. Again, when our teammates initially go down, we're playing it a little bit safer. I like this. We can still fight for space because of our splash ball, but we're not trying to fully commit to the enemy team. What is wrong with that football? What is wrong with the late Tetris? What is happening? Yeah. This isn't like this. Is it like there's a lot happening in this moment because we're just trying to get the ball in. Like we're trying to make a ball and then we're trying to get the ball in. But this is another scenario before we look to score, and this comes back to a good understanding of timing windows. We should expect one of these one-shot weapons to potentially meet us when we score. And in certain cases, they can stop us. Like, depending on the timing window, they might be able to stop us before we get the ball in. In certain cases, they might, like in this one, we get the ball in and then we immediately get splatted after. And in certain cases, we can beat the time. But based off of when we get those initial picks on like the Luna and stuff, like we get the Luna pick, we get the Blaster pick. It's like they both spawned in now. So it's like they're gonna drop now and then now, you know, like we can kind of predict this type of timing window. And I think we can take it a little bit slower and just get the splash wall down before we actually go and score. That way we can like 100% without a doubt not immediately die when we go to score. And like the first time there's a little bit of a choice of like, do you want to optimize scoring or do we want to optimize getting the, you know, trying to stay alive and trying to fight? But in this type of spot, we're not really optimizing anything because we're just throwing in a power clam. And I think erring on the side of setting up and focusing on staying alive versus maximizing our score is better. Because I think in this type of scenario, we're able to do both very confidently. We can stay alive and we can get that initial score. So I just want us to slow that down a little bit and just have confidence. Like I have a lot of confidence as you as a Slayer. And you've been working with your walls very well this game. So at the moment where the enemy team is the most panicked because they're at their most vulnerable, slow it down a little bit. The enemy will always make mistakes. Okay. Enemy team's getting a little bit more privy to the left flanks, but we take it nice and slow, and we find their opportunities to be able to safely go in. Potentially scary, but I think that's fine. Like that play, going for that play is totally fine. That's tough. Also, what the lag? What the scallop? So I mentioned this in a video or a review I did like over a month and a half ago that I just posted on the YouTube channel. Shout out to the YouTube channel today. But when there's just the Tetras left here, so there's just the Tetras here, I'm okay trying to go for these shots, but once they're like out of the picture, I don't like us sharking in this position because our team has an advantage here. We want to try to get this pick as fast as possible, or at the very least, we want to get paint and make it hard for the light Tetras to be able to do anything here. We don't need to focus on sharking, because realistically, this person isn't going to drop. Eventually, they might drop when these people start pressuring them, but they're also going to roll back this way. And I understand, because like the obvious path is to go back here onto the sponge and push this way, which our T-Tech does and ends up getting splatted. I can understand your concern of not doing that because we're very predictable when we go this area. And, you know, we can get pre-fired if we go up the sponge. Which, you know, we can squid roll off the back of it and take safer ways of going about it. But I just don't like us doing nothing and just sitting here and waiting for them to potentially drop at some point. At the very least, we can safely be down here and start getting some paint to like cut off this exit so that they, you know, they can roll back, but they don't have paint to work with after their rolls. Or we can paint in front so they're forced to back up. But I just don't like that we sit here and just kind of wait because they're able to paint for themselves and like you're not a threat to them. And they're able to get a lot more value otherwise. And when it's just that one person left, I forgot how I phrased it in the video. I actually kind of like the way that I phrased it. Sometimes it's weird watching something where you've kind of forgotten exactly what you said during the review. Because I remember most of the reviews, but like when it's after like a month and a half, I only remember important parts of the review. But sometimes you say smart things, and it's always weird watching yourself and not knowing what you're gonna say and be like, man, that was kind of smart. But yeah, in that kind of situation where when your team's at an advantage and there's no other threats than that one person that's not looking at you, because that person's focused on getting scores and focused on stuff under the basket, we can, at the very least, we can paint. We can potentially look to push them, but yeah, not to overly compliment myself, because there's a lot of criticisms I have about myself, as you know, even more than the stuff. But sometimes I say things I'm like, kind of smart. Again, I'm okay going with this route. One thing I've really liked from you this game is that anyone on your team could be going for the same plays that you are and playing this left flank, but they specifically have chosen not to basically this entire game. So if they're not going to go for it, I like that you're the one that's deciding to. If they are going for it, then I'd want us to play more central, but yeah. Holy latency on this Tetris. Alright. Alright, so what are we looking to do in this situation? There's a chance we could have got directed there. We'll let you cook the rest of this play out, see what happens. I feel a big play coming. Ooh, oh! No, they're moving. Nice shots. We still know there's someone on their side. They get traded. So it looks like y'all are in pretty good control. The one thing about this kind of situation that I don't love is that we feel kind of directionless in this scenario. I feel like we're kind of just rotating around the map and not really, we can back it up even farther. We don't really know what we're looking for in this kind of situation. And whatever it is that we're trying to do, like we're going for the flank and, you know, we're protecting this main ramp where they've, you know, shown to be pushing in this way a lot of times. And I'm okay with us watching this, but like once that doesn't happen, we do a lot of just very inefficient movements. We're not painting very much. We're not looking for something specific. Like we're painting over here, but like there could totally be threats that are pushing us through mid. And we don't cover ourselves with wall. Yo, Bounce, thank you for the follow. Much appreciated. Wait, are you on Tactifuelers? I think there's a bounce on Tactifuelers, and if you are that person, I'm also a genius. My brain is enlarged today. But if it's not, then I apologize for trying to connect you to someone that you are not. I knew it. Let's go. Also, congrats on the alpha bracket. And congrats on the 3-0 bracket in top 32. Or the pool 3-0. Good stuff. Super, super good stuff. I knew it. Dude, I know everyone that plays this game. I don't know anything about anyone, but I know names. I follow all of you. I know all of you. Not really. I know most of you. I want to know more, but anyone that plays in tournaments consistently, I know who you are. Hi emoji. And like throwing the wall here is like good, and then we're like cutting off the angle. Like this is okay, but again, you know, that thread is kind of done, and then we're, you know, cutting this off. But we just leave ourselves open to other play. Like because we don't have this paint established, there's a lot of threats that we're just hoping don't punish us in this kind of scenario. It's really hard. This is a very weird situation, and I don't know the best way to describe this. Thank you for the submission, Ace of Clubs. I don't. It's hard to explain, but like at any point, these people could be pushing this way, because none of this is painted. And like we're trying to get paint. And then, you know, we get the pick here. And like we stop this potentially here. But we just don't fully know what's going on. Again, this area isn't painted. So as we look for this recall, this person could totally be here and look to punish us. And a lot of this is based on the fact that the enemy team has control of mid, which leaves you just innately like there's a lot of threats that you have to worry about. And we're just not covering ourselves, we're not positioning ourselves in a way to like cover for that. Because like going for the landing and trying to get shots, even though it's a Tetra that can roll off the landing, I'm okay going for it because you're a 2-shot weapon. But like we push up, if we back up, like before we move forward here, if we play at our like max range, we can be behind this like cover that's over here, and it can protect us, or at least the this V shot that's potentially here. They could they have to swing around, which gives us some time. But we're not even thinking about it because we're like just out in the open, and we leave ourselves exposed, and they could be on top of the stack and they could drop down. There's a lot of places that we kind of leave ourselves exposed in this type of scenario. And this just makes me uncomfortable. In a lot of cases, it's not going to get us punished. And like, we're feeling pretty confident in this spot. The enemy team's staggering. It doesn't really matter in this game specifically, but those types of like not being very thoughtful of the positioning of other threats outside of the one that we're specifically going for, leaves us in scary spots potentially. And that's one thing when I watch like top Japanese players play the game. Again, I've been watching a lot of Korokoro because they've had a lot of content I've missed out on in the last like week and a half. They're always playing around the ledge and they're always playing around the walls. They're leaving. Very seldom do they leave gaps for that type of play to happen. And again, their awareness is like next level. I wouldn't expect I don't expect anyone to play it as tightly as they do, although we should all strive for it. But we're leaving ourselves very open. And, you know, every time, like this game's so fast paced, it's easy to like leave holes. But again, because we don't paint the map and we don't have a lot of paint, and the enemy can rotate anywhere through mid and get to any position for free and very quickly because they don't have to paint for it, we have to be extra cautious in this type of spot, or else we potentially get run over. But, you know, again, your team does a pretty good job of just, you know, preventing staggers. You find opportunities to find the distracted enemy, and you do a very good job of punishing consistently. I just don't like leaving those gaps whenever possible. And you can't be perfect, but we can strive to be a little bit better. Cut off a couple of specific angles. Again, really good patience here, just, you know, letting the enemy's forced to start maneuvering and we wait for them to start moving. We got 2, so at that point our teammates can figure out the rest. So overall, really, really good gameplay. Obviously, you know, our timeliness, like you're a competitive player, so a lot of the 52 and especially going for flanks, you do that very, very, very well. So definitely a lot of kudos. And I'm sure the stats are going to go crazy this game. We'll do better next time. Very unfortunate round 1. We'll get banned before next Link, I believe. It'd be nice for y'all. I mean, obviously striving to get banned is good too. But it would be nice for you all to be able to, because y'all have like been able to level up and grind so much in the last little bit. It'd be nice to give y'all like another month and see if we can, you know, if y'all can potentially make a deep run into alpha. But obviously if you get results in other tournaments, that's like better. But either way, good stuff. It's definitely something to be very proud of yourself for. Just the consistent improvement and also just the really, really nice results at the beginning. Thank you for the hydrate. What was the last tournament you played in? I play in tournaments always. I just don't often stream them. Like I play an SOS every Wednesday, or basically every Wednesday. There was SAC is going to be this Saturday. I'll be playing in that. There was Sindhu's picnic tournament that was on Sunday. We played in that. We played Squid Junction, I think, on Saturday. We skipped Megalodon Cup because we just didn't have enough people. Proving Grounds is this Friday. I don't know. We play in a lot of tournaments. Anytime that we can get on and play tournaments, we play them. But you know, over time I might be more confident to stream them and everything. But our team's still working on a lot of stuff, and I don't, for myself, more so than anything else, I just don't want to have like distractions. I'm still very much in like a learning mode, and it's really important for me to like not distract myself, and I get very easily distracted. There's way more than I thought. Yeah, there's a lot of tournaments that happen. I think we're also like looking for that opening like break-in and have like a really nice result. And so I think in certain cases I'm just like extra focused because I want to have like a result that I'm proud of. And unfortunately, like I don't think there's any results so far that I am proud of myself for, if that makes sense. Like I'm proud of our team for all the effort that we put in, all the work that we do. But we've stumbled a little bit at the finish line in certain circumstances. And I just want like the consistency and like really being honed in with the other people on the team. I have a very I don't think it's that unique, but I have a very specific way that I want teams to like run and function, and it takes time and it takes a lot of building and a lot of trust and there's a lot that goes into it. But not that I don't love you all either, but I want to really be honed in on the competitive side. And when, you know, there's interesting games and stuff, I'll probably look to go over my own games and my own team games and talk about them. I do that like off stream, but that's something that over time I'll introduce kind of into the stream. But for the most part, I want that time to be uninterrupted because we need the practice. A long story short, can I grab ice cream? Good luck, good luck, good luck. Yo, Jetstorm, hello. How is the stream, my friend? How is life? I see you were playing some Resident Evil 4. How goes? For anyone that wants to see, Jet doesn't really play Splatoon, but they play a lot of like variety, and they're ridiculous on in rhythm games. They're my idol when it comes to is it a Song of Fire and Ice? That's what it's called. No, that's the I always mix it up with the Game of Thrones thing. Dance of Fire and Ice. My bad. Been a while. Oh, welcome in, welcome in. We need to play that again. True. And I don't think I've ever actually beat it. Spent the better half treasure hunting. Wait, what's treasure hunting in that game? I remember you could get like if you beat the game and like did some extra stuff, which I beat the game, but I didn't do any of the extra stuff. I know you could get like unique, like very quirky like weapons and stuff. I never actually did that, but is there like little things to find throughout the map and like as you're playing to help with that, or how does that work? Finding gems to sell. Ah, I see. We gave up at the same time, for real. That game was so much fun, especially watching like the top level stuff. It's crazy. And thank you so much for the raid. Much appreciated, my friend. Hope all's doing well. I know you're probably juggling like 20 different things. I hope all is as smooth as it can be. Love to have a team, but no one's gonna take a Brella player. I'm sure there would be plenty of people that would play with Brella. As long as you're confident with the weapon and you get comfortable with it, then you're like super chilling. Also, some people are probably like different people are looking for different things. And like I've seen teams in their posts that very specifically say like we're not playing meta. We're only looking for people that play quirky weapons. That was like a while ago. I don't think they're still looking for teammates. But no, there's a place in competitive and structured and organized Splatoon for anyone. I know what you mean. Yeah. I do my best to ride those moments. I strive for better. I barely feel satisfied with team results. Yeah. That's kind of just the person that I am. Like usually when I reflect back on stuff like later on down the road, I give myself time to be, you know, sentimental and be like, oh man, I was happy about that. Because I've played a lot of competitive games and, you know, I was able to push myself and improve to a point where I was happy with, but there's only probably a handful of like over the 15 plus years that I've played competitive games, there's only like a handful of moments, at least that I can remember, where like I was truly proud. Like there's games that like there's been like nice upsets and like there's been certain scenarios where I'd be like beaten top teams. But even in like a couple of like tournaments that I've won in other games, like I didn't play my best, if that makes sense. Like yes, I won, but it wasn't really me. Like I made like a lot of mistakes. I just got very fortunate. How does open sound? I'd be down another time, but I have to go to sleep after this. We're wrapping this up and then I'm gonna have to snooze. Find keys hidden around the map, open up drawers that are locked inside houses, and they can have antiques. So different types of gems for higher resale value. Ah, interesting. That's just one thing, gotcha. Sounds fun. I know that like, because I've seen like clips of people playing the game, like unlocking like all the really OP weapons, and like it looks like a really fun playthrough. T-Deck and solo queue definitely forget after using splatter shots. It can do more than spam strikes. Yeah, it is not a strike spammer, but it does get value. Anyways, speaking of value, we got a lot of value out of our sharking in this game. Yeah, I think our overall awareness was like very good. The few things that I would say, and I said I wasn't gonna nitpick walls, but you did a lot of stuff really well that I want to go back and nitpick walls because it is an actual like it is an important part of the kit of 52. So we want to angle. So we want to look for optimal angles. My handwriting's not great. Optimal angles to shield. I'm just going to say likely opponent. And in certain cases, when we were pushing up the enemy ramp, instead of using the wall here where we leave, like we left a gap open here, we left a gap open potentially here. And I'd rather us like angle it like this so that we like cut off this gap. Same thing when we're trying to push in and score. Sometimes we can take space all the way to this wall, which is a little bit scary against the Luna because they can like splat you without being able to see you like underneath the ledge. So that is a little bit of a threat, but in these types of spots, like we can push past, like when we're scoring, like we got this initial wall out and we got some scores in, which is good. But after we get like probably, I don't know what I'd probably say like after like 1 or 2 clams, honestly, like there's no real rule of thumb, but you probably only have time for like 1, 2, maybe 3 clams before you like have to reposition. But I'd rather us just keep moving forward like we were, but just try to get to this wall. We might need to, we want to keep in mind our overall ink. And because we approached with our wall at the beginning, we need to refuel our ink a little bit before we can get to this wall, and we can throw down another wall, and then we can like play in this area, and we're really annoying to have to deal with. And then again, if we get into this type of spot, we can look to jump out, we can look to potentially take fights, we can keep moving around this wall and just be really annoying. There's a lot of different ways that we can play it, but I want us to try to focus on like staying alive as long as possible. In certain spots, we used our walls excellently, and in certain spots, don't use if like so don't use it if you don't actually plan to use it. And what I mean by this is in a couple of instances when we're like pushing through mid. So we initially, I think this was the Luna interaction where like we swam past Luna, we got this pick, which was awesome. And then we continued the play, which again, our continuation in this game was really, really good. Yeah, have a good night, Jet. Thank you so much for the raid. And yeah, always nice talking to you. I need to go back and look at some of the treasure hunting. I'm curious. But take care, take care. But when we're continuing this way, like we initially throw down this wall with the expectation that we might fight someone here, we might fight someone here, we might fight someone here. But like we throw the wall, and then as we throw the wall, we're like, okay, we still don't see anyone, so I'm just gonna move past it. But when we move past it, we just leave this little zone right here where they can throw a bomb at us. Or a sprinkler, which isn't gonna do too much. But it would be funny. And we don't want to leave ourselves open, because there's a couple of spots where like if the range blaster, instead of pathing this way, if they decided to path this way, which they had the paint for, if they were over here, they would just throw the suction bomb and you just immediately get spotted. And there was a lot of times where we just kind of left that open. So sometimes it's like an angling problem, and then sometimes it's the planning of the play. And this is something when I play 52 that I'm not good at unless I get a ton of games in and I get like comfortable again. It's a comfort thing of knowing like where to use it. But if we wanted to get a wall out in this type of situation and keep pushing, again, we can like throw the wall out like this way and like walk this way. Or, you know, we could even throw it out, like, ideally we could throw it out even farther this, or like throw it like here, or throw it like here. And so when we start moving past, the window that we can actually get splatted by a suction bomb is like super minor at that point, or there's probably optimal angles to where that you never get splatted by the suction bomb, but at least we want to prepare ourselves and like lessen the odds, because right now we leave ourselves super open. Another situation where this happens was kind of at the end, where like for the most part throughout the game we had good plans and stuff, and there was just this spot where we were like constantly like awkwardly rotating in the certain spots and like looking for something to do. And if we don't know what to do, you know, as Sons was mentioning before, paint when no plan. And a lot of times we didn't have a plan because we didn't have paint to work with. Like a lot of times we struggle to find an opportunity to move around because our team has not established that paint at that point. The enemy team has started beating us out in paint, and we need to take some time to get that paint back. And we do end up painting, but like we got paint over here when all the action's taking place over here. And there's again this like last 30 seconds was like very, very awkward. I don't know exactly, like if I played it, it would have been awkward as well. But at the very least, just, you know, it's okay to just like move back to our plot. We get rid of this first person, that's fine. But just like throw a wall in front of you and just sit here and just like get a bunch of paint. Or sit on top of here and just get a bunch of paint. But just like paint this area, paint over here, you know, probably paint over here because of the way that this map structure is for clan blitz. Make sure this area is cleared with paint, and you know, cover our general bases and give us an opportunity to be able to push out. Because when we go back to our initial comp, the one thing that's important for you as a 52 in regards to paint is that you have the most range on your team. T-Tech has decent range as well, but you actually outrange them a little bit. No one can paint as far as you can, which in a lot of these cases, like the flanks that you took over here and like taking fights over here or pushing into their base, like all the fights that you took almost always were more valuable, and that was good. But like when y'all are holding at the very end here and like, you know, because you have 0 paint in mid and you don't have the ability to take those same types of flanks and those same types of routes, it's okay to slow down, protect yourself with a wall, and just get that paint out. Because it makes your life easier, and then you get a special and you can play with your special to hold at the very end when they're trying to score. And it makes it easier for the rest of your team. And again, as I mentioned, like all of your teams are slayers. So even if we lose a little bit of slaying power because we're painting, if we open up opportunities for anyone else on our team, they can pop off just as well as us. Obviously, our wall allows us to do some silly things, but yeah, that's kind of the biggest thing. Otherwise, again, I think you played this very, very well, and I'm imagining some ridiculous KA because you're able to find a lot of results. Yeah, super, super good. And you can see that like our team should be outpainting the other team quite significantly, but the paint numbers were actually pretty close. And it's just like, I don't know, I think some of it is with the rest of the team, but I think especially toward the end, we probably could have done a little bit better with painting just because there were so many just open areas where we could potentially get flanked and the game could kind of slip through our hands. So that at that point in the game, we want to kind of like shore all that stuff up. But again, overall, really, really good stuff. Happy to see the review. Thank you for the review. And I know that you were talking before about wanting to play different games competitively and trying to figure out what you want to do. But, you know, whether it be in a MOBA or whether it be in Splatoon, definitely best of luck in wherever you decide to take your competitive journey. I'm interested to follow you. Finish your ice cream? Wait, did you say what kind of ice cream you had? A meme team? Yeah. That team was looking for basically a meme team. 25 and 8 on TC. We lost 53. I can't talk. 53 to 75. Our T-Tech was lacking. Crying. Cookies and cream. That's a good answer. We love cookies and cream. I don't know what my favorite ice cream is. Do people like mint ice cream? I'm a mint ice cream lover, but I will say that the chocolate chips in the mint ice cream make or break how good it is. I'm a big fan. Back in the day, we made like, what was it called? There were like these little tins with like pie crust in it, and I would put mint ice cream in it, and we would do something else. I think it was called like, I don't remember. It had like a really funny name. It's like a kid's type of dessert. But I think it's called like grasshoppers, or like it's some earthy name. Because like I think the mint ice cream is supposed to be like grass and the little chocolate chips are supposed to be bugs or something. I don't know. It had some clever name. I don't remember the name of it because it's been literal decades. But that experience as a child made me love it. But anyways, that's all I have for now. I need to get going, but someone who just started streaming is Amy. Amy is a competitive player, more entertaining than me, more funny than me, better junior, better movement, better pizza, Papa John's. Is that Papa John's? Also, they didn't even sponsor me, so why would I give them airtime? Anyways, I'll do that for you, Foam Stars. Just give me the hookup. Anyways, yeah, go enjoy Amy. If you don't follow Amy, go follow her. She's wonderful. Always a good time in there. And like I said, it is fun. uh, but yeah, I should be back tomorrow in the morning. Like I said, I got a little bit of the reviews done, but I need to get like really good on them. Like cutting down the longer reviews into shorter reviews. So I post them on the YouTube channel. But yeah, definitely. I don't know, I gotta check. But anything should be done sometime this week. But I can give you a warning when we're gonna get closer to it. But I don't even know if you can hear this because we're like getting into the raid, so this is like a really awkward time. I'll reach out to you, don't worry, I got you. Take care. Appreciate you all. I'm gonna end the stream.